New York City, its buildings, its skyscrapers lie in the middle of a sea, are magical little islands that dot New York Harbor. They're filled with vegetation and with birds. It's the largest collection of herons and egrets in the Northeast.
When I started bird watching in 1972, they were rarely seen in the New York metropolitan area, and they had been absent since turn of the 19th to 20th century, driven almost to extinction because they looked really good on people's hats.
Waterbirds then began to experience the impacts of the Industrial Revolution. The water quality in this harbor became horrible. By the 1930s, there were no known colonies left. They were gone. In 1972, the Clean Water Act passed, and that started cleaning up the waters. And by the mid-1970s, our predecessors had discovered something amazing. The waterbirds of the harbor returned. There are 10 species of long-legged wading bird that nest out on the lost islands of New York Harbor. We have snowy egret, glossy ibis, great egret, tricolor heron, great blue heron, little blue heron, green heron. The most common one historically and currently is the black-crowned night heron.
Every spring since 1985, New York City Bird Alliance scientists and trained volunteers head out on boats to islands across the harbor to count the nests, count the chicks, and look for changes in populations. Our Harbor Herons survey is one of the longest running wildlife censuses in the country.
As each island has its own challenges. You have to jump off a boat, wade through water, kind of like truck through mud. It is hot, it is humid, and it's overgrown.
So we have over 20 islands that we visit, counting all the birds that are nesting there. You're walking through thorn bushes and bird poop. The cormorants tend to have this defense where they will vomit half-digested fish on top of your heads. It will definitely ruin sushi for you for a couple weeks after the surveys.
You hear the various wah, the guttural night herons and the egrets. There's this dance, the adult birds taking off and coming back, and then the young birds just sit tight and they make their little sounds.
The birds use each other as indicators of good habitat. Oftentimes we have 4 or 5 different species nesting on a colony.
The great egrets are the sentinels on the very top. The black-crowned are also, I think, the most charismatic. They have spiky mohawks. They're feisty. They'll bluff and kind of bark at you and lunge.
One person is collecting data. Another person has this big mirror pole to look inside the nests that are higher up.
It's like a giant dentist mirror that can be extended 12 to 18 feet on them. See if there are eggs, see if there are young. I joined the surveys in 1987. I've done, I think, 38 of the surveys. It's a lovely privilege that I cherish. Even my 2 daughters have volunteered. You know, the volunteers have changed, the leadership has changed, but the methods are solidly the same. So the data is good data. It's trustworthy.
A lot of what we know about waterbirds in the Northeast comes from these surveys. How pollutants influence black-crowned night herons, or how cormorants might be interacting with some of these colonies.
And we use waders as a type of bioindicator. They tell us something about the health of our environment. The first year I was leading the surveys, we had a beautiful island, Subway Island in Jamaica Bay, get completely abandoned. To see a colony that was once thriving to all of a sudden not be there, it was heartbreaking.
Something is going wrong in this harbor. Since the year 2000, we've lost about 27% of the harbor herons. We just submitted this for publication.
Over the last 20 years, we're seeing a decline in a lot of our wading bird species. Black-crowned night heron, we've seen a 50% decline in their population. To see that occur so rapidly is pretty alarming. We do see a lot of disturbance on these islands, people coming out and having bonfires, lighting fireworks, raccoons coming to the islands.
Toxic episodes like oil spills and poisoning and fouling of foraging habitat. Development within the watersheds, rising sea level, and increased violence of storms.
If we don't protect these birds, they'll be gone from New York Harbor. We don't have time to wait.
That's terrifying to me. Black-crowned night heron should be listed as an endangered or threatened species. Our advocacy is going to get these birds to get the attention that they need. We've already activated the Harbor Herons Working Group, which is a network of people interested in the waterbirds of New York Harbor to help drive funds towards research and protections around the islands that prevent them from development and help us put more fight into protecting these birds. This work is an incredible example of why New York City Bird Alliance is so effective at conservation, because we take our long-term science data and we connect it with our engaged audience and we advocate for change. A clock is ticking for these birds. Black-crowned night heron, the trajectory that they're on, as soon as 2037, they're gone. We can stop this, we can protect this bird.